Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you've been having a wonderful weekend. So I wanted to bring you a new build I've been playing around with here with my Frigate. Tell you what, I've really been enjoying this. So if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you probably realize that fire damage is probably one of my favorites to actually add to a ship. Mostly because there's so many different types of furnitures out there. So we'll show you what I've got here. So using the frigate and the amount of gun ports that it actually has, you can use some of these faster firing weapons that have different types of effects and essentially end up getting a little bit more DPS out of it, which is damage per second for those who are wondering what that stands for. So I'm using this Fire Culverin 3. Now in the past I have been using these Basilisk 3s and we get around 2381 thereabouts out of them, 2400 on occasion. So between 2300 and 2400 damage out of those. And then we typically try to throw on some fire or combustion, whatever we can end up getting out of that. But I wanted to play around with something that's a little bit more specific. So this here we have a versatile cannon that really starts to add up the ablaze effect. And it also increases the burning damage of 20%. So I've added incendiary, amplified burning, and went ahead and threw a second storm on there. Now I kind of played around with either second storm or long arm, and I think I've decided on the second storm. And the reason for that is because it does add extra damage that spreads out on top of the burning damage that we're doing, but also on top of the ablaze damage that we're putting in there as well. Plus you get a lot of furnitures that can work off of electricity and fire, so kind of opens up some of those options. So here's what we ended up doing. We ended up going with that incendiary perk, then of course amplified burning and second storm. Now I had originally played around with just boosting the original firepower or damage output of this, and it did okay, but I ended up with a higher output of the 2352 using the perks for the incendiary. So we went ahead and put that on all three of our front, and then of course our bows. We did do the firepower perk here, just to kind of show you here, 2356 versus the 2352. So it's kind of marginally on the damage output there, so nothing major. And then of course on that rear weapon I have a Urban's great gun, and we may switch off for that, but it seems to be doing okay. And I don't usually fire off the rear of this thing. I'll probably end up putting a NASCAR or something like that back on the back side of it. Haven't really decided yet. Then of course on this auxiliary port I'm using the Roaring Meg. The reason I'm using that is because I like to do a lot of forts. If you've watched any of our live streams here over on Twitch where I'm just out doing my daily grinds and stuff, I'm always running forts, trying to take these walls down as quickly as I can. Culverins work pretty nice as far as the reload and the amount of damage they can put out, but this always does a great job of just dropping them immediately. So I would recommend that on your ship. Now when it comes to armor, there's a lot of different things you can use. When you're running in tier 2 and you're running a lot of forts, you're going to want to run your Ouroboros armor in case you get sunk. It will happen occasionally, but you want to use that because it also heals that severe damage that comes off of a lot of these boss ships as well. Now there are some other armors that I do recommend if you have a healer around. Buccaneer's Oath is a great one. You're going to get that boost whenever you take out a ship. You get that 30-second boost where you get an additional 25% on your armor and weapons damage output, which works really nice. I mean, it's actually a pretty nice one to have. And then of course we have this, oh, where are you at here? This Nova Armor. I am actually really enjoying it. Does a really good job with the 3500 explosive damage. Blast radius when they fire at you. If you brace up, it'll actually send that out. So I've got like 7 of these things saved up so far. Definitely going to probably get a few more in there. A pretty nice armor to have. So now when it comes to furniture, you're going to be able to play around with some different things here, but here's what I'm running right now, and it's still kind of a tweak in work. So Ramrod Workshop, decreasing reload time of your broadsides by 70%. It also increases that secondary damage dealt, so we're just really beefing up on those ablaze effects when we're doing this kind of stuff and that fire effect. Then of course we have the bilge fire barrels where weapons hit against the target. Damaging status have a 5% chance to fully charge, so when we're hitting them with fire, it's going to help increase that charge rate of the ablaze effect. It has a 30-second cooldown on there, and it increases the secondary damage of broadside weapons by 10%, so a pretty nice one to have on there as well. Fuse fusing station, it says it decreases the reload time of front weapons and rear weapons, increasing the secondary damage dealt by the front and rear weapon. Now, I may change this one out. I haven't completely decided yet. It is pretty nice for the front weapons. The rear weapons, you only have 2 slots, so for the front, we do have 6 cannons, so it is worth having on there. The trunnion furnace, I'm actually really loving this. Hits from a culverin have 25% of spreading to nearby targets, so we have electricity already spreading. We already have a blaze effects. Now we're spreading even more fire damage around, so we can be building the blaze effect even quicker and triggering it on more ships at one time is essentially what we're doing with this thing. And let me tell you, it does a phenomenal job. I've been playing around with it going against these moonshine fleets and stuff, which obviously they're more susceptible to fire damage. A lot of people have been looking for something to take those out effectively. I do recommend giving this a try. Now, with the moonshine event coming to a close here, it sounds like Sunday, I guess, or well, no, I guess it'd be Tuesday morning is whenever the new reset hits. It doesn't look like it's on the calendar after that, so make sure that you're spending those points. If we don't see a change on that calendar, it looks like the event is almost over, and I don't see a repeat of it at all this season. It will be moving to the Dark Tide Lullaby, so make sure that you keep an eye on that, how much time you have left, and make sure you spend those points out, guys. And then, of course, we have this volatile fuel, increasing charge rate of a blaze effect on enemy ships by 10%. Now, remember, all damage effects that we're putting out is spreading around at this 10%. As you're spreading that fire around, you're charging more a blaze effect that way. So, really good to have on there. Then, of course, sticky fuel station, increasing that duration of the ablaze effect on enemy ships by 10%. So that's a really nice one to have. Now, I know there's a lot of various things that we could use, like Devil's Concoction, and we could even, this here is going to increase secondary damage of burning weapons and maximum range of burning weapons. So we could potentially put something like that on, and I've thought about it, and I may end up coming over and switching this, where are you at here? Diffuse fusing station to that. And, I just haven't decided yet. It looks like pretty good perks. You're increasing damage and you're increasing range rather than just increasing the reload time of your front or decreasing the reload time on those weapons. So, I think the more I think about it, we're going to give it some practicing. I can always switch things back over later if I need to. Let's go ahead and put that one on instead of the fusing. Let's go ahead and switch to Devil's Concoction. If you don't have the blueprint for Devil's Concoction, you can buy that over at the let's find it on a map here for you guys. It'll be located over here. If it'll load up, the Forgotten Candy, you will go to the rogue that's over there and buy it from him. Now, you have to have that Vengeful Essence and things like that, the Ether Ashes and stuff for most of the things that he's selling, but that is where you pick up that blueprint. So make sure Roadman Godin is coming out here soon. Make sure you're farming that event so that you can buy that Devil's Concoction over there. And I think I'm going to, well, I was going to see if there's a fleet over here just to throw this thing against real quick, but let's find something that'll be fun to hit. I guess we'll go after a Hubok. I'm not really seeing anything else loaded up at the moment. So everyone wants to see the ship in action, so we're just going to throw it in action and see what it does here. Like I say, I've been having a lot of fun with this thing here the last couple of days. And I wanted to finish tweaking it out before we actually put a video out on it. And I think it's ready. That's one of the things this Hubok guy does, is he will take your sail and break it, making it harder to turn and then run. He doesn't run as bad as Armand. Armand is insane as far as like how chicken he is in running. Now keep in mind, these large ships are supposed to do better in these large open seas and storms. And I tell you what, they've made the storms to me far worse than they used to be. So we're gonna have to deal with some of this stuff here. We got catch chicken boy over here. Looks like there's a healer ship in the area. All right. So there is our new fire culverin build. Gotta say, I'm actually really enjoying it. I've been looking for a way to bring better burning damage in and actually have some range on this thing. I've always used demi cannons, the Zama 3s, mostly for putting out a lot of fire output. And then, of course, relying on that sandbuck for that blaze effect. But let me tell you, the culverins here, because they do such a great job of directly affecting the ablaze effect, similar to the way a basilisk helps with that Rager perk, you're really getting a lot of those extra damages out, and then trying to spread that around to multiple ships so that you can proc more than one fire really does come in handy in large situations. I was hoping we would see a fleet battle here. It looks like it's a minute 48 out. But we're going to call that and just be watching in the days ahead as we're doing our live streams, and we'll be doing more and more tests on this stuff. Anywhere from the new Wolvenhall forts, we do solos on Oostens and Tier 2s, and all sorts of different things. So make sure that you hop in and check those. Hit that subscribe button, guys. We will catch everyone later.